Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Do you think you can frame a judge for taking someone's life without getting away with it? Well, today we are watching and reacting to The Hammer, a movie about a judge who was framed for and brutally revenged to save her job. Let's get into it.
Ms. Brown, I'm sure you've heard the saying, the truth will set you free. We're done here.
Ms. Wheeler, you're under arrest for the murder of Judge Jacob Brewer.
Okay, but why kill Judge Brewer?
In Las Vegas, Chris banged on her men's door, but there was no answer. Worried, she went into the brew house and found him dead. In a separate incident, an officer noticed a speeding vehicle and pursued to identify the car, which turned out to be Judge Kim. After warning her briefly about speeding, he released her. Judge Kim was on her way to succeed the late judge. When she arrived, she introduced herself to her new colleagues and prayed.
It's in the courtroom. Amen.
Before starting work on her first day.
Wait, I'm confused. The judge that was sleeping in a trailer? Wait, I thought judges were rich. Is that just my ignorant idea about judges? Why was a judge sleeping in a trailer? You know, if it's not like a matter of his choice or weird. Let's continue anyway.
Her aide, Officer Vicky, brought her coffee, but Kim nervously spilled almost all of it over the floor and almost fell on the ground. Disaster struck early on her first court case. When Kim struggled to state the facts, she inadvertently angered a defendant who lunged at her. When he struck her with a gavel in self-defense, Vicky was obliged to restore order. Kim found out about the surprise next day hearing after getting home from the courthouse, her assistant having overlooked her agenda. Later, as she grilled alongside
This courtroom
her
is
car,
chaotic.
she saw people whispering about her after the courtroom incident, where she had been dubbed Miss Hammer. While Vicky found this hilarious, Kim was annoyed by the attention. As they made their way,
Who was recorded in the
Vicky
courtroom?
teased Kim in the car about being homeless, a fact Kim confirmed, quipping that she still bathed on a regular basis.
Sorry.
When they arrive where they are going, Vicky urges...
What? This judge also does not have a home. What is this movie about? Poor judges? I feel like, you know, what the media has always pushed to us about judges was that they are rich, and if anything, you know, the government really takes good care of them. In every country, I must say. You know, I know it depends on the level of the court you are in. Like in some countries, they're like there's a high court, magistrate court judge, like things like that. Supreme Court judge. It depends. But still, she doesn't bathe. She doesn't. Okay, wait, she said she doesn't have a home, but she bathes. What is happening? This movie is already chaotic. Let's continue.
Him to spend the night, and after a bit of hesitation, she does. Kim learned later, speaking with the bartender, that he was Bart, father of a boy on the case she was prosecuting. She identified herself as the judge on the case, and they began to engage in conversation when Officer Vicky
Isn't that a
disrupted.
conflict of interest?
That night, while Kim waited outside the 7-Eleven, Vicky got a call about the autopsy results. When she found Kim hadn't followed her, she ran outside to look for Kim, finding her in the trunk of her car, explaining she couldn't sleep because it was too cramped. The following day, Vicky admitted to having been on a few dates.
So wait. Her assistant offered her a place to stay, and she still went back to sleep in the trunk of her car because she claims the room the assistant gave her was too cramped. What does this woman love? Like, to live in misery? Like what? Huh? You've been offered a place to stay and you still choose to sleep in the trunk of your car? Huh? Okay, I'm so confused right now. Is this movie a comedy or like a murder mystery? I'm confused. Can someone educate me in the comments if you've watched the full movie?
What they called her. The courtroom was full the day they opened the case, and Kim opted to put it off until
Okay,
Monday.
this courtroom
Later,
looks more
they
like
debriefed on the day's
organized than the first one she
and
went
the
to.
public's response, specifically the vitriol directed at a woman because her case for child custody was postponed. Vicky provided pertinent information so Kim could make her way through the ordeal. Later, Kim was introduced to Judge Carpenter, who laughed about the hammer incident. Things quickly soured when he started insulting her abilities, questioning whether being a judge was even a fit for a woman in general, and insinuating that she would not fare well.
Where are we? Are we in the 1950s? Like, do people still have reservations about women taking majorically masculine roles? What are we doing? Like, yeah, listen, I'm by no means a feminist, but this is just an ignorant man.
In such a position, coming from the city as she did, the condescending words did push Kim to her limit, further arousing her spite because he underestimated her. On Kim's next day, presiding over a drug case, she celebrated
I think they are just jealous because she's from the city and she's been transferred to the small town. I think it's just jealousy.
Woman in custody who had successfully overcome her addiction. The courtroom erupted in applause as Kim officially declared the woman free. However, the atmosphere shifted when Miss Angle was called to be released, and Kim discovered that she hadn't truly turned her life around. This revelation sparked Angle's anger, leading her to confront Kim defiantly, claiming she was afraid of being
church or a
smashed
courtroom?
by the hammer, a reference to Kim's reputation as a strict judge.
Is this a church or a courtroom?
Young lady. Why? To the hammer?
Later, Kim found a mysterious
Why is there no
letter and
order
a
in her
voice
court?
message in her car, prompting her to return home. When she arrived, her father answered the door with a gun in hand, which startled her. After she managed to calm him down, she stepped inside and found her sister, Chris, concerned. Kim asked where Chris...
Okay, that means she is actually from the town, but maybe left to live in the city for a while, and then now she has been transferred back to be a presiding judge over the judge that was cases, I guess. What kind of recap is this, guys? I'm so confused. What is happening here? What is going on? And did you guys realize that he called Angel? Did you guys catch that? He called that defendant Angel when her name is Angel. Huh? Okay, this is getting hilarious.
had been, only to reveal that she had been living in the trunk of her car. As they sat down for dinner, Kim, who was also covering the developments for CNN, shared that the case was now being treated as a...
This is not even making more sense now. It's not, because she literally has a family home in the town. I thought she had no place to stay. Like, she was talking to her assistant like she had no place to stay. She literally has a family home where her father and sister stay, and she still chooses to sleep in her trunk. At this point, I guess it's just like her choice, you know, due to reasons only she knows. Obviously. Because why? Why would you act homeless when you're not? Plus, it's even dangerous. Like, a judge living in her trunk, that makes you vulnerable to so many people taking advantage of you, people taking revenge on you for putting them in prison, like things like that. Judges are really hated, you know, especially by criminals. Is she thinking of her safety and security? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but this movie is all over the place. My goodness.
Murder investigation. Their conversation turned to their father's declining health due to dementia, with Kim reminding Chris that their father was an alcoholic. Chris countered, saying that children who jumped off roofs often knew better than their parents, hinting at their troubled upbringing. Suddenly, while washing the dishes, Kim received a chilling call, informing her that her sister was the primary suspect in the murder case. Panic surged through her as she realized the caller might be nearby. Just then, she noticed a car.
Wait. I'm confused. I've forgotten. It's her sister, the woman in the first scene who entered the judge's trailer, the judge that was found trailer. Is she the same woman? Because that lady also had blonde hair, right? We're not going back, guys. It's too much to go back. So let's just continue and see what happens, I guess.
Speeding away from their home, she quickly shook Chris awake and urgently instructed her to retrieve their mother's gun. Though Chris hesitated, Kim's attention was drawn to a childhood scratch on the wall under the stairs, evoking painful memories of their father's angry outbursts. Eventually, Chris found the gun and handed it to Kim, who felt a mix of fear and determination as the gravity of their situation settled in. Bart visited the next day in her office to bring Kim coffee. In the course of their conversation, she discovered he had a nasty temper and that the security cameras were down in connection to the murder case. Their chat broke up when her assistant Joe came in and passed Bart on the way out. Just for coffee, Kim replied tersely when Joe asked what Bart was doing there. Kim later went to the prison to see Angela. She asked about her lawyer, Leonardo, and Angela started to open up about the terrible sexual abuse he had.
Is her name Angel, or Angela? What is this narrator? Anyway, no comment. No comment.
Subjected her to, and the awful requests he had made of the prisoners. Back at the office, Kim talked about how moved she'd been by Angela's story. Just then, Deputy Wayne came up and apologized for what had happened in the previous visit, delivering shocking news. Chris had been charged with the murder of Judge Jacob Brewer. Chris panicked when Wayne escorted her away, but not before Kim confirmed the arrest warrant was real. Back in her office, Kim confronted Ellis and asked him why he suspected her sister. But what looked like a heart issue when Judge Brewer died turned out to be drugging and
Who is
sexual
Ellis?
misconduct.
Like, he didn't even
Since she was the
introduce
last
this
person to be
person
seen
to
with
us.
him, she became the prime suspect. Kim, who regularly
Oh, so her
handles
sister was
cases
the
like
lady
these,
who found
had
the
to
judge.
shelve those. She had got background on Leo and validated Angela's disclosures. They could only get him arrested if Eileen was willing to confidently testify. But Eileen was reluctant to speak up. So,
Who is
Kim and
Eileen?
Vicky
Like,
got to
you
work
didn't tell
trying
us
to
who
persuade
Eileen
Eileen
is.
to step forward.
Ah.
Kim then confronted Chris about the drugs discovered in her room.
I'm
Because
getting
Chris was
frustrated.
connected to the local brothel, she had experience in such things, and explained that the medicine was there by mistake. It was their father's.
Did Judge Brewer's wife ever know he was catting around down at the Shady Lady?
When Kim got home, she found her father cooking in the kitchen, almost burning the house down. She dealt with it and tried to get back to normal, but he just kept calling out for Chris and asking for beer, not having any desire to see
He
her.
shouldn't be left
Her
alone.
heart
He's obviously...
shattered at his insistence. The following day, as a caregiver arrived to care for her father, Kim made her way to the courthouse,
Yes, good
where
idea.
she opposed the release of two men who were implicated in a drug charge, a position that Leo agreed with. As she was about to call up the next case, Leo took his seat, leaving her with unanswered questions. Then, Eileen showed up, shocking everyone, and Kim started going over the specifics of her case. She asked Eileen how she knew Leo, and learned that he had tried to force her to listen, promising to exonerate her if she kept quiet. Eileen had complied under duress to free herself, even if it is a delusion, he wrote. Kim then ordered Leo arrested for the sexual assault and misconduct of Eileen, not forgetting to also make sure that Angel will be cleared through the examination as well.
I have a headache. I think I'm getting a brain freeze. What am I watching? Who forced me to watch this? What are we watching? So what, this attorney was sleeping with his clients and forcing them to do stuff they didn't want to do. Like, what's happening? And is that lady's name Angela, Angel, or Angel? Is this narrator an AI? I'm confused because he sounds human. He doesn't introduce us to new characters that pop up. Like, who is Eileen? Who is Elish? Oh, I'm trying not to get a brain freeze watching this. Guys, let's continue struggling through watching this and see what comes of it, because I am still waiting for the part where the judge is framed for someone and she taking brutal revenge. Like, I'm still waiting to save her job. She taking brutal revenge to save her job, because that is what the title said. And I mean, we're halfway through this narration. Let's see if this narrator saves this movie, because this is not it. This is not it. I feel drained already. Let's continue. Oh my goodness.
Back in the office, Kim recommended that Eileen become her assistant, which made her ecstatic.
Doesn't she already have an
hesitated a moment
assistant?
before agreeing, thankful for the offer. Then, Joe had brought in a message
Isn't this
with
her
no
assistant?
return address. Kim, opening the box, was horrified to discover her cat inside, along with a letter threatening
Someone
her.
is sending her a
Fearful,
message.
she attempted to reach the nurse attending to her father, but there was no response. Frantic, she raced home and grabbed her gun. Fortunately, her father and the nurse were
She
safe,
didn't call the
looking
police.
for the missing cat.
She went to him
Kim
and grabbed her
discreetly
gun.
hid her gun. Kim writes
Huh?
to Jacobs, later meeting with Jacobs' wife to tell her about the sister's innocence. But resistance greeted her, where the wife accused Chris of having a thing with her husband, and Chris was trying to ruin their marriage. The wife had presented a letter Jacob wrote a year earlier, in which he threatened to kill her if she ever left her. After reading the letter, Kim released the judge's wife. Back in the office, Kim confronted Joe over the threatening letter. When Kim called Joe out, she initially defended herself by claiming she wasn't involved, but Kim responded that the handwriting matched Joe's. Confronted with the physical proof, Joe admitted that the letter had been written 2 years before. When Kim asked whether there was a history of drug usage, Joe said that there was none, though he speculated that Judge Jacobs might have enemies. Eventually, Kim filled Chris in on the letter, which had her on edge, waiting for the lab results showing that the drug used to execute Jacobs had been injected. Kim stepped away from the conversation, returning to the office to meet with lawyers and to go over the findings. She also suspected that the killer coded the heart attack meds and felt helpless as Ellis would not relent the act.
Guys, I'm so lost, but yeah. But why do I feel like maybe the person that killed the judge is the court officer she's been moving around with, the one who offered her a place to stay? Why do I feel like maybe she's the killer? Whew, can you tell that I've zoned out because I am not following? I am really not. This is torture. This is torture. Let's continue being tortured together, I guess.
Accusations of Chris. The next day, Eileen started in her new post in the office. In the courtroom,
Could also be
Kim wrote a
Eileen.
case
The
for
killer
a
could
boy
also
with
be Eileen.
issues controlling his anger and assessed that he needed to take anger management classes. Bart and his wife had been upset to see their son face consequences for his actions. Later, Bart's wife attacked Kim at a bar, screaming at her about her son's struggles with mental health. Unable to control her rage, she nearly assaulted Kim, but was restrained by the bartender. Then, Bart had drinks with Kim, but when he left the room, she searched through his drawers and found shoes similar to the shoe prints near her car, leading her to suspect him. The following day, Kim did something clever. She cold called the bartender, seeking security footage and information.
You know, I just realized that they didn't introduce Bart to us too, except he did, but because of this ridiculousness, I don't remember. I literally don't know who Bart is. Like, who is he? Like, what is going on? What is going on here? Ah, Lord.
And as they exited, Eileen called Vicky to say that Kim was in trouble. Vicky was just telling Bart that Kim had a problem because of the bartender.
I suspect
Bart,
it's
meanwhile,
that lady.
led on that he had drugged Kim's drink, as he had done with her soda, and dropped the detail about her father's cat dying. He held her at gunpoint, and Kim attempted to persuade him to confess. As she pressed him, he confessed he had killed Jacob because of his love for Charlene, but said he no
so I was
longer
wrong.
wanted her. Kim gave him an opportunity to cooperate with justice and get a reduced sentence, which he declined, increasing the threats to kill kill her in the desert. Kim's foot smashed down on the accelerator, and it broke through with cows were fed and crashed down, knocking Bart unconscious. Taking her chance, she ran. But he soon came around and started to pursue her, thrusting her to the ground and leveling his gun at her. Vicky, Bart, and the police arrived at the place on time, almost after Kim, as she shot him in the chest in self-defense. In the aftermath, Kim learned Bart had put a GPS tracker on her car. When she pressed him about his creepy behavior around her car the other night, when she was scared that someone was coming after her, he told her it was because he was worried she was going to be murdered just like Jacob.
He'll be okay. Not my first rodeo.
The officers arrested Darlene and freed Chris, so she could go home to her father. Joe was trying to sing in the bar, but couldn't hit a note to save her life and was laughed at. Jim later met with Judge Carpenter, who referred to her as messy.
Okay, this
but
Judge
she
Carpenter.
flipped his insults
So he was
and
in
showed
fun.
what she could do. So Vicky arrived and asked Kim to sing. And shortly after, everyone else joined her to sing and have a good time. All the while, Bart watched. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe.
Does anyone get the movie? Because he lost me. This is the most hilarious, pathetic, comedic movie recap we have ever witnessed in the history of this channel. This is the first. What did we just watch? Look, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but I doubt. Maybe it's just me. But if by any chance, per some miracle, you were able to follow this storyline and fully understand this movie, or perhaps you've watched the full movie, please give us a recap, a proper, we want paragraphs in the comments, because this narration lost me. Like, I just went with the wind. I do not understand anything about this movie. I don't understand the plot twist. I don't see where the judge was framed. I don't get anything about this. Nothing. I don't know who the characters were, why they were introduced, what they did, aside from a few of them. What just happened? What did I just watch? What did we just witness? I'm going to take a long nap after this because my brain is literally frozen. Guys, if you feel as tortured as I do, please like this video. Look at what I'm going through for y'all. Please like this video and leave a comment between 1 and 10. How tortured do you feel? 1 being the least and 10 being like the most tortured you feel. I am at a 15. Like, this torture broke the scale. I'm at a 15 at how tortured and lost I am watching this. It's been a struggle. Okay, guys. Until next time, please don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys. What did I just watch? Pathetic. Lord, save me. Save me, save me. Lord, save me. Lord, save me. I feel lost. My brain is frozen. Lord, save me. Lord, save me.